What's good, YouTube? I'm back. I know it's been a long time. I've been saying I'm going to come back, and I never do. But it's the end of 2017, and another year in wrestling has gone by. And that means it's time to review. 2017 in wrestling was a year that saw perhaps one of the greatest trilogy of matches to ever take place, as well as some great matches in an entirely different company, some amazingly shocking moments, and some moments that made you just say, why did they go this way? So I'm going to give you my superstars of the year, my matches of the year, and several other things about the year in this video. So first thing I want to talk about is I'm going to be talking about two companies, WWE, which will include NXT. I will do a separate thing for NXT, but since they're both under the WWE banner, I will just keep that as one company, as well as New Japan Pro Wrestling, because they have just evolved to a whole new level of wrestling in 2017 because of two specific men. And I guess I'll start there. New Japan Pro Wrestling this year. Obviously, it's a company that's produced some of the best matches in the world every single year, no matter who you're talking about. Back to the days of Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles at Wrestle Kingdom 10 a couple of years ago. But this year, between guys like Tetsuya Naito, Kota Ibushi, Hiroshi Tanahashi, those guys had matches that will never, ever be looked at as bad. And probably would be match of the year candidates if it weren't for two guys, Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega. What else can I say about Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega? The trilogy of matches at Wrestle Kingdom 11, Dominion, and then in the G1, you have no way to say that those matches were bad. Dave Meltzer even rated two of them over 6 stars. I mean, they progressively got better, and each match had something different. You look at the first match, it was Kenny Omega just trying to be the heel and take the title from Okada and failing to hit the One-Winged Angel. You look at the second one, Omega was desperate. He wanted that title. He needed that title, and the 60-minute draw made it great. And then in the G1, it was Omega seemingly his last chance to defeat Okada. The title wasn't even on the line. He just wanted to advance to the finals of the tournament against Tetsuya Naito, and the whole trilogy of matches has probably been one of my favorites, if not my favorite, in the history of professional wrestling. Not just New Japan, but in any company anywhere. And I would venture to say that if you look at those matches on paper, at least two of them could vie for match of the year in the entire world. The first two especially. I mean, not to say anything bad about the third one, but the first two, I mean, the shock of how great the first one was at Wrestle Kingdom, and then the second one going the full 60-minute draw. I would argue either one of those, but there's two matches from WWE that I would say have a chance to rival that. Then I'll go to WWE, the main roster. You're talking both Raw and SmackDown. I'm going to pick one match. If I had to pick one match throughout the year, I could go through a list of them. I love the Fatal 4-Way main event at SummerSlam. I was there live for it. Joe versus Lesnar versus Strowman versus Reigns. A couple others throughout the year were pretty good, but nothing will top John Cena versus AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble. January was a great month for wrestling. You had Okada Omega 1 at the Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th. A couple weeks later, you had Cena Styles 3 for the WWE Championship this time. Cena, between the great wrestling that both men put on, as well as John Cena coming out victorious in a one-on-one match for the first time with AJ Styles and becoming a 16-time WWE champion. The story it told, definitely one of the best match on the main roster this year. And that's the only match I would believe that has a chance to rival any of the Okada-Omega matches, but even still does not. And then I look at NXT, and without a doubt the match of the year has to be Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate for the UK title at TakeOver Chicago back in May. Those two guys just put on an instant classic. I remember watching that match between the stiff shots, all the high-flying moves, and the great ending sequence. That whole match was just great. So if I'm picking 3 matches from around the world to be my matches of the year, I'm picking any one of the first 2 and probably even the third Okada-Omega matches, plus Cena Styles at the Rumble and Bate and Dunne from TakeOver Chicago. Now, if we're talking Superstar of the Year in WWE, first of all, we'll talk about the women. This year, obviously, was an even bigger year in leaps and bounds for the women again. 2016 saw the first ever Women's Hell in a Cell match. the women's championship was reinstated over the Divas title, and the term Diva was dropped. But I think in 2017 it was even bigger. You saw the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. The announcement that in a couple of weeks at the 2018 Royal Rumble will be the first ever women's Royal Rumble match. Rumors swirling that we'll have the first ever women's Elimination Chamber in February. A lot of big things coming for the women. The rosters get bigger and bigger. The wrestling gets better and better between NXT's matches with Asuka and Ember Moon to main roster clashes between Bayley and Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, and seemingly everyone she's beaten. I would have to venture to say that the Woman of the Year in WWE is Asuka. Sure, her main roster stint has been short and not so well celebrated in terms of championships yet, but she's still undefeated. She's been in the company for over 2 years now, has not lost, was the longest reigning NXT Women's Champion of all time, never lost the title, she relinquished it. I mean, great years for gals like Charlotte and Alexa Bliss especially. Probably could have had a banner year being champion for a majority of the year. Entered the year as SmackDown Women's Champion, became a 2-time champion, is now a 2-time Raw Women's Champion, and will exit the year as the Raw Women's Champion. I just think that overall this year has been great for Alexa, but Asuka's year just a little bit better than that. Bayley and Sasha Banks had good years, both were Women's Champion at some point, but definitely this year belongs to Asuka. And in terms of the men, without a doubt, I would say the year belonged to AJ Styles. AJ had another banner year, his sophomore year in the WWE. He entered the year as WWE Champion, put on great matches with the likes of John Cena and Shane McMahon, Kevin Owens, even Baron Corbin, and towards the end of the year, his feud with Jinder Mahal. And his match with Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series is one of my favorites of the year. Not up there with him and Cena, but definitely one of my favorites of the year overall on the main roster. So yeah, AJ Styles. The only one I could see rivaling him, I mean, despite the monster year, no pun intended, for Braun Strowman, another banner year for a guy like Brock Lesnar. It was a big year for The Miz. The Miz really came into his own this year. He had that really good finish to 2016, his feud with Dolph Ziggler and the promos on Talking Smack. 2017, he held his own in a feud with John Cena on the mic. Even though he lost in the mixed tag match at Mania, he did not get buried at all. He held his own the entire feud. Comes to Raw, the Intercontinental Championship reign he had was lengthy. It might not have been too many great opponents, but it was lengthy. He's great on the mic, and it was a banner year for The Miz, and I'm very happy that they're finally giving him another opportunity to run towards the top of the card, and I hope when he returns from filming the Marine 6 that he is inserted right at the top of the card once again. And lastly, I want to talk about two things. First of all, you can't overlook 2017 without talking about Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal was WWE Champion for 6 months in 2017. Something that we would have never guessed would have happened in a million years. If you had said to me on January 1st this year that Jinder Mahal would be WWE Champion for 6 months, I would have said you were the most crazy person alive. But, so be it, Jinder was the champ for 6+ months. He won it in May, and he held it till the beginning of November. And he fought the likes of Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, and he almost got into a match with Brock Lesnar. That's how big of a year it was for Jinder. I did not like it. If I would have gone back and said WWE, if I would have wanted WWE to do it differently, yes, I would have. But it was a learning experience, I think. You know, they tried it, didn't work. I hated it. Most people hated it, but hey, Jinder, he proved he's not just another guy, if anything. That's the only thing I might be able to get out of that whole reign. And lastly, I would like to talk about the feud of the year. A lot of great feuds this year. I mean, like I said, Cena and AJ was great. You had plenty of great matches and feuds throughout the year. I think the Owens and Shane feud definitely was one of my personal favorites because it got personal, the assault on Vince, and everything that happened with Shane and Owens over a 3+ month span. It's still kind of going on now. It started at SummerSlam, before SummerSlam even, and now all the way up into December, and looks like it's going to head into the new year with still a bit of the remnants of the feud intact. So that's the year in 2017. You had some great matches around the world, not just in WWE anymore. The matches you see around the world are even more popular now. The breakouts of guys like Jinder Mahal and Kenny Omega and Braun Strowman, guys becoming megastars. You had some first-time evers, the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. It was a great year. And here's to 2018. We got the Royal Rumble in just a few short weeks, which means we are about to embark on the road to another WrestleMania in New Orleans, WrestleMania 34. Here's to hoping that it's not Roman Reigns this year. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to try and do this more often. Like I said, I always say I am, and I never do. But this is another attempt at it. I did get this video up. I'm very happy about that. I just don't want to do reviews at the end of every year. I do want to keep it up and try and get some more things on with wrestling. My buddy Mark and I are going to try to record some videos about what's going on in wrestling. If anything, the latest we will try and do it is at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, reviewing it. But hopefully before then, we might be able to get some more list-based stuff. We were working just a couple of days ago on top 10 lists for 2017. So I know I just did my personal review, but we can give you a whole top 10 on some of our favorite matches of the year that took place. So have a happy new year, everybody, and I will see all of you in 2018.